Have you ever wondered why he looks at you a little longer, but never says a word? Why his actions scream one thing, but his lips stay silent? What if I told you there are hidden signs he can't control? Signs that prove you are his weakness, even if he tries to hide it. In today's video, we're diving deep into the 6 undeniable signals men give when they're secretly drawn to you. These aren't the obvious things everyone talks about. No generic "he texts you back fast" nonsense. We're talking about subtle psychological triggers, the body language clues, and the emotional slips he doesn't even realize he's showing you. Because here's the truth, men are often terrible at expressing their deepest feelings, but their instincts betray them. Once you know what to look for, you'll see it, clear as day. By the end of this video, you'll know whether you're the one who has him hooked, how to decode his unspoken signals, and what these secret behaviors really mean for your relationship. So, grab a seat, stay with me until the end, and let's uncover the truth he won't admit, but his actions can't hide. Here's the thing about men. When it comes to deep emotions, they often struggle to say what they feel. It's not that they don't care, and it's not that they're heartless. It's psychology. Most men are conditioned to control their emotions, to appear strong, collected, and unbothered. But here's the secret. When someone becomes their weakness, their behavior starts speaking louder than their words. A man who's truly drawn to you may fight the urge to show it. Why? Because opening up means vulnerability. And vulnerability can feel terrifying. It's not pride, it's protection. Deep inside, he's calculating. If I tell her how I feel, what if she doesn't feel the same? That fear of rejection forces him to hide the very emotions that consume him the most. But even when he tries to mask his feelings, his instincts betray him. His body language shifts without him realizing. The way he leans closer when you talk, how his pupils dilate, how his voice softens when he says your name. Science shows that when we're emotionally drawn to someone, our subconscious takes over before our mind catches up. You might notice he becomes unusually attentive, remembering tiny details you didn't think mattered, changing his tone when speaking with you, or acting slightly protective in subtle ways. He won't always say, "I like you," but his actions are screaming it. Understanding this psychology is the key. If you know what drives his silence, you'll start spotting these hidden emotional leaks everywhere. And once you see them, you can finally read the truth behind his mask, without him ever saying a word. When a man sees you as his weakness, one of the most telling signs is how nervous he becomes around you, even if he's normally confident with everyone else. And here's the fascinating part. This nervousness isn't something he can fake or control. It's a raw biological response driven by the emotions he's trying so hard to hide. You might notice his voice cracks slightly when he talks to you. His laugh sounds a little forced, or his words stumble when he least expects it. Maybe he fidgets with his hands, adjusts his shirt, taps his fingers, or avoids steady eye contact. Not because he isn't interested, but because he's overthinking every single move. His brain is running a mile a minute. Does she notice me? Am I saying the right thing? What if I mess this up? Science explains this perfectly. When we're around someone who triggers strong attraction, our body releases adrenaline, the same chemical that kicks in when we're excited or anxious. Our heart rate speeds up, our palms sweat, and our mind suddenly struggles to focus on anything except the person in front of us. So if he seems calm with others, but acts awkward or jumpy with you, that's not random. It's instinct. It's his feelings showing through his nervous energy. What makes this even more powerful is when this nervousness contradicts his personality. A guy who's normally outgoing, confident, and charming around everyone else, but turns a little shy, hesitant, or quiet around you. That contrast is telling. It means you've disrupted his emotional balance. You've become someone who matters enough to shake him. And here's where most people misunderstand. Nervousness doesn't mean disinterest. In fact, it's often the opposite. A man who sees you as just another person stays relaxed, casual, and unaffected. But when you're someone who captures his thoughts, his energy, and his heart, his composure cracks without him realizing it. If you notice him avoiding long eye contact, fumbling with his words, or suddenly becoming overly cautious when you're nearby, pay attention. Those aren't signs of weakness. They're signs of deep emotional investment. His mind might be silent, but his body, It's telling you everything. And as we move forward, the next sign reveals something even more powerful. The way he secretly remembers the tiniest details about you, even the ones you forgot you ever shared. That's where his feelings become undeniable. One of the clearest signs that you're his weakness is hidden in the little things he remembers about you. The tiny details most people would forget, but he never does. And here's the thing, he's not doing this consciously. He doesn't sit there taking mental notes or trying to memorize facts about you. His brain does it automatically because you matter more to him than you realize. Think about it. You may have casually mentioned your favorite coffee order weeks ago, and out of nowhere he brings it up. You might have shared a childhood memory in passing, and somehow months later, he references it like it just happened yesterday. He remembers the movie you said you wanted to watch, the restaurant you once said you loved, or even the exact date of something important to you. This isn't just about having a good memory, it's emotional prioritization. When someone cares deeply about you, their brain tags your words, your likes, your dislikes, and your stories as high-value information. Without even trying, he holds on to the smallest fragments of who you are, because to him, those details matter as much as you do. Science actually supports this. Research shows that when we're emotionally invested in someone, our memory heightens around anything connected to them. Dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter, kicks in whenever he's around you, making his brain store information more vividly. That's why, when it comes to you, he notices things no one else does. What's even more revealing is how he uses these details. He might surprise you with your favorite snack after a long day. He might bring up something you said weeks ago, just to show you he was listening. He might even reference inside jokes you thought he forgot. These moments aren't accidents. They're signs that you occupy his thoughts far more than he'll ever admit. And here's the beautiful part. Men don't do this for everyone. If he remembers your little quirks, your random preferences, and the stories you thought were insignificant, it's because deep down, you're special to him. His mind naturally pays attention, and his heart does the rest. So if you notice he brings up things you barely recall sharing, don't underestimate it. That's not coincidence, that's connection. It's his silent way of saying, I see you, I hear you, and I care. But remembering details is just one layer of the puzzle. The next sign reveals something even more powerful, something he can't control at all, his body language. And once you see it, you'll know exactly where his heart truly lies. Sometimes the biggest clues about how a man feels aren't in what he says, but in what his body does without his permission. You see, when you're truly someone's weakness, his actions betray him before his words ever can. Body language is raw, unfiltered honesty, and no matter how hard he tries to hide it, his subconscious will always reveal the truth. You'll notice it in the little ways he positions himself around you. When he likes you, he naturally leans in when you speak, as if drawn closer without realizing it. His shoulders turn toward you, his feet point in your direction, and he mirrors your movements without even thinking. These subtle cues are his mind's way of saying, I'm connected to you, I'm locked into your presence. Eye contact is another powerful giveaway. A man who sees you as his weakness often has a complicated relationship with looking into your eyes. Sometimes he'll hold your gaze a second too long, like he's trying to memorize the way you look. Other times he'll avoid your eyes entirely because the connection feels so intense, he doesn't want to give himself away. That push and pull tension, it's one of the strongest signs of hidden attraction. Then there's his nervous energy, the small fidgets, the way he plays with his shirt sleeve, runs his fingers through his hair, or adjusts his watch when you're near. These aren't random habits, they're signs of emotional arousal. When someone makes your heart race, your body instinctively seeks ways to release that energy, and for him, you are the trigger. Even protective gestures can slip through without him realizing. Maybe he subtly steps between you and a crowd, guides you through a busy space, or slows his pace to match yours. His body reacts before his mind can process it, because keeping you safe and comfortable becomes an instinct, not a choice. And here's the thing, he doesn't do this for everyone. If you start noticing these tiny physical shifts only when you're around, it means his feelings for you are far deeper than casual interest. His body language is screaming the truth his words can't yet say. But as revealing as these physical signs are, the next one goes even deeper. Because when a man sees you as his weakness, he doesn't just show it, he finds reasons to be near you, even when he doesn't have to. And that's where things get really interesting. When you're truly someone's weakness, he doesn't just think about you. He finds excuses to be around you, even when there's no real reason to be. It's rarely obvious. He won't walk up and say, "I came here just to see you." Instead, it shows in the subtle ways he rearranges his world just to cross paths with yours. Maybe he suddenly happens to be in the same hallway at work, the same cafe you like, or the same social circle at gatherings. He'll claim it's coincidence, but deep down he planned it, even if it was just a subconscious pull. When a man feels drawn to someone, proximity becomes his quiet way of feeding that connection without exposing his feelings too openly. You'll notice it in conversations too. He lingers just a little longer than necessary, stretching small talks into moments. He asks questions that aren't really about the topic, just so the dialogue doesn't end. And sometimes he'll volunteer to help you with the smallest tasks, fixing something, carrying something, or offering support he didn't need to give. It's not about the task itself, it's about being near you. And here's what's fascinating about this behavior. Men often disguise these reasons as logic, when in reality they're driven by emotion. He might tell himself, "Oh, I'm just stopping by because I was in the area," but his real motivation is you. He wants to breathe the same air, hear your voice, and soak in your energy, even if he doesn't admit it, even to himself. There's also an emotional layer to this. When you're his weakness, your presence calms him and excites him at the same time. Being near you gives him a sense of closeness he craves, but can't always express in words. That's why he'll naturally drift toward where you are, even when he has no reason to. And here's the key, he doesn't do this with everyone. If he's always around you, offering help, showing up unexpectedly, or placing himself where you are, that's not an accident. That's effort disguised as coincidence. His actions are revealing what his lips won't say. You're on his mind more than he'll ever admit. But as much as he tries to be close, there's one thing he can't control: how he reacts when someone else gets your attention. And that brings us to the next sign, where jealousy speaks louder than words. Jealousy is one of the strongest emotions a man tries to hide, especially when you're his weakness. He may never say it out loud, and he may even pretend it doesn't bother him, but his actions will reveal everything. When a man feels deeply for you, seeing someone else have your attention can trigger subtle, instinctive changes in his behavior, changes he often can't control. It's not always dramatic. He won't necessarily confront you or openly compete for your attention. In fact, the most telling signs of hidden jealousy are the quiet ones. Maybe his tone shifts slightly when you mention another guy's name, maybe he suddenly grows more distant in the moment, or he starts fidgeting without realizing it. These micro reactions are his emotions leaking through before his mind has a chance to filter them. Sometimes jealousy shows up as overcompensation. He might act overly confident, suddenly start telling more jokes, or become unusually talkative when another guy is around, as if trying to prove, "I can be more interesting than him." Other times, it shows up as withdrawal. He may go quieter, observing from a distance, pretending he's unaffected when inside, he's processing a whirlwind of feelings he can't quite express. Psychology explains this perfectly. When we care about someone deeply, our brain releases dopamine when we feel connected, but the moment we sense competition, cortisol kicks in, creating tension, restlessness, and anxiety. That's why his energy shifts so noticeably when he feels like someone else could take your attention away. He doesn't want to lose what he doesn't even fully have yet. And here's what makes this so powerful. Jealousy isn't just about insecurity, it's about value. If you weren't important to him, he wouldn't care. But because you matter, his protective instincts activate. Whether it's a change in his body language, the way he subtly interrupts, or how he suddenly starts talking about his achievements when another man is mentioned, these behaviors come from the same place. You're special to him. He may never admit it. He may never even fully understand it himself, but every little reaction, every glance, every shift in tone, every unspoken pause, reveals what he's trying so hard to keep hidden. And if you've noticed these jealous signs, wait until you see the next one, because when a man truly sees you as his weakness, he does something even more vulnerable. He opens up in quiet, unexpected ways, sharing pieces of himself he doesn't show to anyone else. When a man truly sees you as his weakness, something unexpected happens. He begins to open up in quiet, unplanned ways. For most men, vulnerability doesn't come naturally. They're often taught to be strong, be guarded, and never expose too much of what's inside. But when his feelings for you run deep, his walls start to crack without him even realizing it. It doesn't happen in grand confessions or dramatic declarations. Instead, it shows up in small, intimate moments. Maybe one night, in the middle of an ordinary conversation, he casually shares something about his past he doesn't talk about with anyone else. Maybe he tells you about a childhood memory, an old fear, or a dream he's never admitted out loud. And in that moment, without even saying the words, he's telling you, "I trust you with a part of me I keep hidden from the rest of the world." These moments are powerful because they're unplanned. He doesn't rehearse them. He doesn't even expect them to happen. They slip out when he feels safe around you. When he senses you won't judge him, mock him, or use his vulnerability against him. You become his quiet refuge, the person he can breathe with, the one place where he doesn't have to pretend to be in control all the time. You'll also notice that he starts letting you into his inner world in other subtle ways. He might ask for your advice, not because he needs it, but because he values your perspective. He might share personal struggles he hides from everyone else, or let you see sides of his personality no one else gets to witness. These are not random acts. They're deliberate choices of trust, even if he doesn't consciously realize he's making them. And here's the truth. Men don't open up like this for just anyone. If he's showing you parts of himself that others don't get to see, it means you've touched something deeper than attraction. You've reached the part of him that's usually locked away, the part that wants to be understood, accepted, and seen for who he truly is. When a man lets his guard down around you, even in small fleeting moments, it's one of the clearest signs you're not just another person in his life. You're the person who's become his emotional safe space. And if you've noticed these 6 signs so far, stay with me, because next we'll dive into the bonus tip that reveals the ultimate way to know if he's completely secretly obsessed with you, even if he hasn't said a single word. Here's the thing. When a man is secretly obsessed with you, he may never say it, but his patterns will expose him every single time. Obsession doesn't always look like grand gestures or endless declarations of love. More often, it shows up in the quiet, consistent ways he invests his energy into you, even when he thinks you're not noticing. You'll see it in how deeply he prioritizes you without making it obvious. He remembers your habits, your schedule, and your routines so well that he seems to coincidentally show up in the right place at the right time. He engages with the things you care about, remembers even the tiniest preferences, and adjusts his actions to align with what makes you happy. That's not randomness. That's focus. Another powerful sign is the way he keeps tabs on your world, not in a controlling or unhealthy way, but because his curiosity about you is endless. He notices when you change something small, like your hairstyle or the tone of your mood. He subtly keeps track of who makes you smile, what excites you, and even what frustrates you. When a man is obsessed, your happiness becomes his compass, guiding so many of the choices he makes when you're around. And here's where psychology comes in. When we're drawn to someone deeply, our brains form strong emotional imprints. That means even when he's busy, distracted, or far away, you're still in his thoughts. It could be something simple, hearing a song and thinking of you, seeing something that reminds him of a moment you shared, or suddenly wanting to message you without knowing why. Obsession lives in the in-between spaces, in the quiet, unspoken connections that exist, even when you're not there. But here's the most telling sign. He looks for excuses to deepen the bond. He'll initiate conversations more often than necessary, ask questions that go beyond surface-level talk, and create opportunities to spend time together, sometimes without even realizing why. He's drawn to your energy, and no matter how hard he tries to play it cool, his actions keep pulling him closer. If you start connecting all these behaviors, the attention, the consistency, the small sacrifices, the endless curiosity, you'll know the truth. You're not just on his mind. You are the thought he can't escape. And once you see these signs clearly, everything about his feelings finally makes sense. We've covered a lot in this video. 6 powerful signs that reveal when you're truly his weakness, plus the bonus tip to spot when he's secretly obsessed. And now, you have something most people never get clarity. Here's the truth. Men are often not the best at expressing their feelings. They hide behind jokes, distractions, or even silence. But their actions, their patterns, and their unspoken behaviors always tell the real story. And if you've been watching closely, you already know the signs to look for. The nervousness, the little details he remembers, the way his body language changes, how he shows up, his quiet jealousy, his rare vulnerability, and the subtle ways he pulls himself closer to you. These aren't coincidences, they're signals. And now the next time you're wondering where you stand with him, you'll be able to decode his feelings without him saying a single word. That's powerful, because understanding these hidden signs isn't just about him, it's about you. It's about recognizing your own value, knowing the effect you have, and deciding how you want to move forward. And here's what I want you to remember. If you see these signs, it's not about chasing him or forcing anything. It's about confidence. When someone sees you as their weakness, it means they've already chosen you in ways they might not even realize yet. And that gives you the space to step into your worth, to trust the connection, and to let things unfold naturally. Before you go, I want to invite you to take the next step. If this video gave you clarity, imagine what happens when we dive even deeper. I create videos every week about love, relationships, attraction psychology, and emotional connection, designed to help you understand what's really happening beneath the surface. So if you found value here, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. And I'd love to hear from you. Which of these signs have you noticed before? Have you ever seen a man show these subtle behaviors? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one, and your story might help someone else going through the same thing. Remember, love isn't about chasing, it's about understanding. And now you have the insights to see the truth he can't say out loud.